I often do kind of more of a general talk, but this is really specifically aimed at educators, so there's a little bit of jargon. I'll try and keep it to a minimum for the non-school people. But in how it's being done, my new book, what I argue is these schools have invented the wheel. A lot of times people say, there's no sense reinventing the wheel. And I used to say, no, people like inventing their own wheels. But then I realized that it makes none of us really reinvent a wheel. But lots of people redesign them. So every terrain, every vehicle, every kind of change requires a new wheel. A wooden peddler's cart. This is a picture of one of the oldest wheels that we know of. And a wooden peddler's cart needs a very different kind of wheel from a Formula One race car, but they both are wheels. So I was trying to think, well, what makes a wheel? Well, a wheel is, a rim connected by spokes to a hub, or it's a solid disc, capable of moving, of turning an axle that is capable of moving a machine. So a hubcap, well, that's not really part of a wheel. And mud flaps, that's not really part of a wheel. So what's really part of the wheel of school reform? So the first thing is teacher collaboration. No one teacher can be an expert in all aspects of the curriculum, in every way to teach it, and about every student. No one teacher can have all that knowledge, but every teacher has pieces of it that they can bring to the table. And so the teacher collaboration is really important. This is a picture of Capitol View. That was the first school I showed you in Atlanta. Every day, grade level team of teachers meet for 1 hour. And every week, they meet for 2 hours with the principal and assistant principal in order to discuss curriculum, instruction, assessments, all the things that go into classroom instruction. 2, these schools have a laser-like focus on what children should learn. And to non-educators, this seems sort of like, duh, but educators know that they often have not been provided with a really clear roadmap of what kids were supposed to have learned in 2nd grade, what they're supposed to learn in 3rd grade, and what they're going to learn the rest of their. So I'm responsible for the 3rd grade, and what that looks like, and how that, all the standards that go into that. They're supposed to learn about weather systems. They're supposed to learn about, there's a variety of things that kids are supposed to learn in 3rd grade, and if they don't learn it, how many, most groups of grown-ups, if I sit around and talk with groups of grown-ups, at some point someone will say, well, I was sick when we learned long division, right? You've heard that. Or, well, we never got past World War I. Now it's probably World War II. I'm older. But, there's been no coherent system to ensure that all kids learn what they're supposed to learn. So this is a very clear standard that was up in one classroom wall. Just this is what you're supposed to learn. Number 3, formative assessments to see what students have learned. This is the jargony piece. So everybody has the state assessments, but they're not really particularly useful. They're useful to make sure that you're on track, that a school is on track, but they're not really useful for teaching. Teachers need to be assessing fairly constantly. It doesn't have to be a paper and pencil test always, but they need to be assessing at all times, pretty much daily, weekly, to make sure that kids are learning what they're not learning, learning what they're supposed to learn. And if they haven't learned it, get them some help. Make sure that they get some help. So at Lockhart Junior High School, I didn't show you the data for that, but it's a very high-performing, very low-income middle school, junior high school in Texas. They have what they call rescue classes. So it's built into the schedule. If a kid falters on a quiz, the next day he's in a rescue class taught by a master teacher who makes sure, who goes back and says, okay, let's really understand what you got wrong here. Let's make sure that there's not some kind of misunderstanding or lack of information, some background knowledge that you missed. Kid can be in a rescue class for a day, a week, a month, a year, depending on what he needs. That's real structural change within the school to support student learning. For data-driven instruction, this is a picture of Graham Road. That was, I think, the second school I showed you. The very high population of immigrant students. And this is a chart that the kindergarten teachers are looking at. And it's deeply mystifying to anybody who doesn't know what this chart is, but blue is good. We're good to go on blue. Yellow and green, not so much, and red is real alarms. And each kid is a row, and each piece of knowledge or skill is a column. So they can look at this and say, and it's organized by classes, so they can say, you know, Ms. Robbins' class, really, they're getting rhyming really well. I'm going to have to go look at what they're doing to understand that. But look at this, my kids are doing pretty well in sight words. You know, I mean, just different kinds of assessments. But by working together and going through the data in that kind of systematic way, they're able to see who's getting more success, who's getting less success, and share out ideas. And 5, personal relationship building. This is you can work on personal relationship building all you want, but if it's not tied to instruction, it's just going to get you a nice school. Kentucky doesn't need nice schools, it needs really good schools. But really good schools happen to be really nice schools. So this relationship building can take the form of daily advisory periods. This is what they put into effect in Granger High School, where 4 days a week, every professional in the school meets with a group of kids like this. This is the principal. This is his advisory period. But every professional in the building meets with 12 to 18 kids. And keeps real track of them, because this is one of the real problems at a high school level, that nobody's really keeping track of every single kid. Keeps real track, meets with every parent or guardian or foster parent, I mean aunt, uncle, grandmother, but keeps in touch with family members. In fact, Richard Esparza, the principal, he said, one of my students, she got married, so she brought in her husband, and I said, well, what are you going to do to support her learning? He said that was a little odd, but whatever you know, family member there is, they meet with. This is a middle school in Newark. They have morning meetings where they build a sense of community. This is a school in Dayton's in St. Paul, where every child is greeted every day. In fact, that's a fairly common theme, that kids are noticed, they're valued, they're greeted, but Dayton's Bluff is kind of aggressive about hugging. Working with groups of students and working with each other. So all within the context of high expectations for all students.